Good morning. Having my coffee. Good morning, everyone. Hi. It's Stacy. This is Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. Just wanted to take a minute and say hi. It's interesting. It isn't. There it goes. Oh, that's interesting. It's not sharing to the group, which it should, but it is. Had a great night last night on Let's Talk. If you were not there, Michelle and I counted there were probably 15 people on and off throughout the night. It was great. It was amazing. We talked about so much stuff. Just wanted to tell everyone good morning. We're going to finish up our series this morning on our needs, our personal needs, our rights. And today's right is we have the right to have our needs and wants respected by others. It's kind of interesting that we feel we should be able to do that, but we do have that right. We were talking last night, morning Shannon, morning Sunny, morning Rox. We were talking last night about Boone Cutler's book. And of all the books I have read on PTSD and the reality, Boone Cutler's book, it's called FPL, and it's for Functional Personalized Lifestyle. And it's a book for protocols, as he calls it, for warfighters. It is a phenomenal book to open up and give you insight into the veteran's perspective. And those of us that have it, read it all the time. We read pieces and parts of it and all of it all the time. And I think that it's just something that he is very good about letting us share. It's in the very front of his book, so I want to share just a part of it. He writes this in little snippets, and part 32 I thought was important. And it says, I learned that stress is accumulative. The more you have, the less of it you can take. If your bench press max is 180 pounds, that's it. Stress is the same. Once you are maxed out, that's it. Only time and training can increase your max, and it has to be balanced. Morning, Susan. So what Ben is saying in this is that our bodies can only accumulate so much stress, and you have this maximum threshold, and so as you're pulling up your stress level, if you don't do something to alleviate this, it's only going to get to here before it explodes. So if this is your maximum and you're here and you get to here, it's going to explode. It's kind of like shaking a can, with the pressure in it. But if you start reducing the amount of stress in your stress level, then when people add more stress on, you're somewhere in between. And I thought that was very interesting in that analogy. You go take a Coke bottle and shake it up. If it's full and you shake it, you release that top, it's going to explode and go all over everywhere. But the more Coke you take out of it when you shake it, it'll come up, but it will never run over the top. I thought that was an interesting comment in his book. So again, I recommend, if you do not have it, it is on Amazon. It is $9.95 or $9.99. It is a phenomenal read with lots of ways and alternatives in how he dealt with it, and research for you to do on what may work for you and your veteran. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But those of us that have it, it's funny because we've all written in ours and underlined things and circled things. And while it is a quick read, I probably will say, other than my devotional, my Bible, it's a book I read more than anything. I just keep going back to it because I learned something about PTSD, and I go back to that book. Morning, I go back to that book and I read it, and I'm like, oh, this is what you meant. And so the light comes on, and it's phenomenal. All right, so today we're going to talk about having our needs and wants respected by others. Basically, we all, yes, Roxy, you have to break down and buy it from Amazon, I know, but that's where it's coming from. We all have that right to have our needs and wants met or respected. It doesn't mean that because we have needs and wants that they're going to be given to us. It means that people need to respect them, right? That is a big difference. It is a huge difference in the fact that your needs and wants may not be given to you, or you may not get them, but you have the right. The name of the book, Sue, is called FPL. It's by Boone Cutler. If you Google Boone Cutler in Amazon, FPL will pop up. It is amazing. If you have needs and you have wants, you have the right to have those respected. It doesn't mean you're going to get them, but they need to be respected. Okay? There are times that I need and want a cup of coffee. Right? I need and I want that. I can remember driving to Jacksonville for an hour and a half for a procedure, and I couldn't have it. Right? But Carl respected my needs and wants enough to know that he wasn't going to stop and get coffee for him, or it would not be a pleasant ride. So we have that right to have needs and wants, and our needs and wants need to be respected, no matter how dingbatted or dumb or whatever they sound to somebody else. My mother, for example, has made the decision, and it's an incredible decision, to move into this amazing retirement community. She's going to start out in like this 2-bedroom house with a den, and then it is staggered so that if her health would decline, she can move in stages. Well, COVID's going on. The place has been locked down. There's outbreaks of COVID. There's this, there's that. Does it bother me that she wants to move during COVID? Yes, it does. Hey, Nancy. It does bother me that she wants to do that. But you know what? That's her need and her want, and I need to respect that. Now, by the grace of God, the place that came available she's not going to get. She's like next on the list, so she may get the next one, but she has to wait for somebody to decide to move down. But she has that right to have that need and that want respected, whether I agree with it or not. And so we go through that. We go through that period in our life where we have needs and wants. We have a period in our life where we all have needs and wants, and they may not come true, but we at least want to be heard, and we have that right. We have that right for them to be respected. Okay? So when you're in a situation and your needs and your wants are not being respected, take a minute and walk away from the situation. Don't stop conveying your needs and wants just because other people feel that way. Respect is something that is required in all healthy relationships, and that's next month's topic. Next month, we are really going to talk about, it's called Love is in the Air, but it's about building loving and lasting relationships, and respect is key, one of the key factors in building a healthy, happy relationship. We have to respect each other. We get respect by giving it. So there may be days that your veteran wants or needs something that we can't fulfill, because remember, we have that right to say, I can't do that. But it doesn't mean we need to discount or not respect his need or want. He has that right to feel that way. We may not be able to give it to him right now or do for him right now, because we also have that right not to do things that we can't do. We have that right to say, I can't do that. So it is about respect. Same thing on the other side. We may need to be held. We may want to be held. We may want to cuddle up on the couch with them. But it could be an anniversary date for him, and he can't do that. Okay? He can't do that. because it's an anniversary date. And he again has that right to say, I can't do that right now. But it doesn't mean that he needs to look at you and say, well, that's just effing stupid. Why do you feel that way? It's not part of the game. And the kid's right. You have to learn defending your respect by giving respect. When you start talking to people like you want to be talked to, you gain a totally different level of respect from them. And so the thing about needs and rights and how we take control of our life is simply this. We take control of our life by giving to others what we want in return. We take control of our life by giving to others what we want in return. So if we want, and I do this, Carl just walked by, he'll tell you, y'all, I vomit really ugly words when we get in fights. I've said this to you a lot, and I'm really trying to work on that. Okay? But if I vomit ugly words, what am I going to get back from him? Ugly words. That's the truth in it. If I talk down to him or anybody, what am I going to get back in return? People are going to talk down to me. That's the whole concept is simply this. Now, you are not the only one, sister. So when we give this out and we want our needs, and we have that right to have our needs and wants respected. They don't necessarily have to be fulfilled, but we have that need, that right to have our needs and wants respected. Then guess what? We have to give it, we have to do the same thing. I don't care if their needs or their wants, and I'm talking about anybody's, if their needs and their wants are out of realm of what we can give them. We don't have to. We have that right, just like they do. If they can't do that, we have that right to say that. Okay? If we have that, we have that right to say we can't. But it doesn't mean we disrespect their needs and wants. It is different to say, hon, I can't do that right now. Instead of saying, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard and we're never going to do that. Where's the difference in that delivery? Did we say the same thing? We said we can't do it. But the delivery was totally different in how it comes across. And it is a process that we have to learn. I am learning it. I have not mastered it. I don't think anybody ever masters it. I think you learn it, and it is an evolution, and you learn together. Because when you first start navigating through this, and regardless of where you are in your relationship, whether you've been with them a day or 6 months or 2 years or 10 years, and you feel like you're drowning, you have to have a starting point. So it doesn't matter where that's, and there's going to be big issues in the starting point as you start to work on those, and then as your relationship evolves, the issues become smaller, but there's still issues you have to address. It's just not the level it was before. Okay, so you have to understand that. So you have to have this starting point. And the starting point, simply take it back to the golden rule. Do unto others as you want them to do unto you. It's a simple theory of life. If you want to be respected, give respect. If you want to be loved, give love. Simple. And we make it so difficult. I make it very difficult. And it comes, a lot of it, not an excuse, it's just who we are. We can make excuses, but you have to be able to look at your realities in the world. And my reality is simply this. I had an abusive first marriage. It was ugly abusive. I live in a narcissist from the second one. So I bring that baggage, and my only defense mechanism was my words. The only way I could lash out from the physical and the emotional that I went through was my words. So that tends to be what I use now. I don't have to use them now because I'm not in that same place. I use them because it's all I knew and because it was embedded in my brain. So I had to rework on getting that out of my brain to learn that I don't have to say hateful things and still get the same results. I get better results when I don't say hateful things. I get better results when I'm honest and don't say hateful things. You can communicate. Let's say you don't agree with them for whatever reason. I don't care what it is. You don't agree with them. You can say, I don't agree with you because I don't agree with this. Instead of saying, that's the dumbest damn thing I've ever heard, or you stupid. What's the difference? You said the same thing. Your delivery was different. So we have that right to have our needs and wants respected. But the only way they're going to get respected is if we start getting it back. That's the big key in this. We have to learn. As we become stronger in learning our rights as humans, they also have the same right. There is not a right for me as a human that is different than the right that Roxy has as a human, or that Nakia has the right as a human. Okay? I saw a great lady doing that last night, and she was becoming a bit frustrated. Thanks, honey. I do. She's talking about me. We tend to do that. We tend to do that and not giving respect. We deserve it. We have rights. So does everybody else. And we have to learn to respect that right I have is the same right they have. And that's tough. That is super tough. That is super hard. And we don't always do that well. But if we want those results, we have to do that. We have to know that we have that right. And when people don't respect our opinion, our right to have a need or a want fulfilled, then take that step and walk away. Take that step and take a step back for a minute. Calm things down for a minute. Refocus for a minute. My great granny used to say, your mouth is like a tube of toothpaste. Once you spit it out, you can't suck it back. Have you ever done that where you've over squirted the toothpaste on the toothbrush? You can't scrape it back in there. It's out. It's for the whole world to see at that point. It's running down your hand, down the sink. It's everywhere. You can't suck that back. So when you say disrespectful, hateful things, even if I didn't mean it when it came out of my mouth, I can't take that back. The hurt is already done. So if he has that right to have his needs and wants respected, and I disrespect them with my words, I can't take that back. Just like if he disrespects them with his words, he can't take them back. For my needs and wants, you can't take that back. So learning that we have that right also means that other people have that right. And you can't take back the hateful things you say. You can say, I'm sorry, and you can try to not do it again, but typically in the pattern, And I will tell you this, Carl will tell you this. In the pattern, those hateful words came out like I could push that button like there was nothing to it. And at times I still do that. I'm trying to be more aware. I'm trying to not do it. But they still come out and they still hurt. And then what happens is you get in this tit for tat cycle where I spewed out something hateful. So what did he do to defend himself? He spewed out something hateful. Then what did I do? I spewed out more hateful things. And what did he do? He spit out more hateful things. And what do you have as a result? You have a lot of anger, a lot of hate, a lot of stuff. And in the words of Boone, your stress cap is here. Your stress cap is now here. You keep spewing out the hate. Both people become more stressed and it explodes. Because we have a max that we can handle. And I didn't think about that. Yeah, and when you get into that point and you're spewing out the hateful things, I forget what we were fighting about to begin with. Carl's real good at redirecting me back to a point, and I'll bring in all this other stuff, and he'll be like, can we deal with the point at hand first? You know, I told you about their minds and their mission, and it's like one objective at a time. Not for me, it's not. When I get fighting, it's about everything. All right, we may be arguing about like the color of the sky, and before long, we are arguing about everything. I didn't like the way you put your underwear on this morning. I didn't like the socks you picked out this morning. I mean, it becomes ugly, and I just bring all this crap to the table. Roxy's Carl in her relation. That's cute. But you bring all this stuff to the table, and you never fix it because you're never addressing the one issue that was the problem to begin with, because we're too busy spewing out ugly and we're playing tit for tat and we're not respecting each other from the very beginning. And then we don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand why we get to blow up state. I'm like, I think we're doing really good in my mind. And the next thing I know, we're like, yee, butting heads, as Carl puts it. And we do. You take two strong-willed people and you put them together and they both want to prove their point and they're both angry and they're both frustrated. You are like this, and it is never a good thing. Ever a good thing. Headbutting people is never a good thing. And then I go off on a tangent, and I just bring everything to the table. I'm like, huh. Well, yeah. Nikia's right. She's like, women tend to multitask when verbally when feeling attacked. We do. Because the difference is we are multitaskers. Women typically tend to be that way. And so it becomes a matter of deflecting, and we don't want to deal with the initial issue. So now we're bringing up all these other things because the initial issue may really be our fault. And you know, we are perfect, and we don't, it's hard for us to take blame. I know, honey, poor Carl. Y'all, he does his fair share too. Okay, so let's just don't pour Carl all the time. Thanks, Rox. But we don't tend to take blame well, right? We don't tend to take blame well. So then we start pointing out everything else. And he's like, well, you know, you disrespected me by saying this. I'm like, well, you didn't cut the grass right. And the other day I asked you to do this and you didn't do it when I asked. And so I just find all these things to deflect to rather than respect the one thing he's asking for. And this is going to be interesting for everybody to think about this, okay? Everybody understand this. Resolving conflict. Resolving a conflict is a need and a want, and you have the right to have it respected, and they have a right to have it respected. Doesn't mean it's going to be resolved when we want it. But resolving conflict is a need. And that's going to sound so strange to people. Resolving conflict is a need. People think about needs. Look, I need a pedicure. I need my haircut. I need a pedicure. I need my haircut. I think about all the things I need, right? And the reality is that resolving conflict is a need as well. And we have that right to have it respected. And they have a right to have it respected. And so there's times that I want to resolve the conflict right now. We gonna talk about this right now. And he's at that point when in his rights that he can't do that right now. But I don't respect that. I'm like, but I said right now. And the same thing happens in reverse. When he's in a PTSD moment, I may want something right now. I don't understand why he is like in his moment, right? And reliving a moment, why he can't be open and loving and kind and hug me and let me love him through it, because I just want to squeeze him and say, it's okay, baby, you need to let it out. He can't. He can't. That's his right. I can't do that right now. My needs and wants are to fix that, but I can't, and he can only do it on his time. And we don't get that. My need and want for him, my want for him is to make all this go away. If I could wave a magic wand and make PTSD go away, I would take it out of our lives, for me and him. But I can't. Now, can we respect that? Yes. How many times have we said to our spouse, our partner, you need to go get help. We can't live like this anymore. You need to go to therapy. You need to go to the VA. You need to take the medicine. You need to do. How many times have we said that? How many times have we said that to them? Only to get, I'm not going. I'm not going to do that. Has it ever dawned on you that they can't do that? Maybe they're not ready to relive that moment. Maybe they don't want to be labeled defective anymore. Maybe they don't want to do whatever, and they live in such a world where their needs and their wants, they don't have the rights because we don't allow them. Yeah, Nikki says this, we tend to want them to let it out according to our standards. People don't live by our standards. We have to live by our standards, and we have to respect their standards. It doesn't mean we have to avoid the issue. It doesn't mean we have to avoid that problem. But we can't cure their PTSD. We can't get help for their PTSD for them. But what we can do is change the way we approach things and start respecting them, and they respect us, and out of that mutual respect, they start to see the pain and what their PTSD does to not just them, but to us, and then it allows them to go get help that works for them. Can I rephrase that one more time? That works for them. In the words of Boone Cutler, and these words are so important. Functional, personal lifestyle. Personal. Okay? Go back to, and I'm going to pick on poor Nikki, God love her. She will flat out tell you, girlfriend will tell you she can't cook. And she says she doesn't care when anybody says, I have the easiest recipe in the world, anybody can cook it. Girlfriend will tell you she can't cook it. Alright? So nothing we try to teach her about cooking is going to give her the ability to cook. in her functional, personal lifestyle. That's not happening. Right? You can't make it happen when it's not there to do. Same thing happens with our veterans. We can't look because we've read a book or we've read something online or we've listened to the doctors at the VA or we've done whatever and say, well, the only thing this works is with this therapy. Oh, and this therapy works really good, and this works really good, and this works really good. That's great, but it may not work for them. It has to be personal, and they have to be ready to do it, or there's no commitment and there's no respect. Right. EMDR, they're terrified of reliving it. And that is tough. It's tough. You can't let PTSD control your life. I'm the first one to say that. You can't let PTSD control your life. But we use it as an excuse to not give respect or expect respect or let them have their rights or exercise our rights because we're afraid of a trigger. All these rights we've talked about all month long. We are entitled to them, we deserve them, and we have the right to exercise them, and we should, but so do they. And when we stop using the PTSD as the excuse for not allowing them to exercise their rights, and stop using it as the excuse for us to not exercise our rights, we're going to learn that almost the biggest problem in our relationship is relationship and boundaries, and PTSD becomes the excuse. It's a small portion of it, and then we can navigate through that part. We can help them through that part. But until we learn that we have rights and they have rights and they stem from respect, we're done. It's not going to work. We're going to drown. I did it. I drowned in you. And that may not be what you want to hear. That may not be where we are. We have to take this a step at a time. You have to get things right in your house, your head, your heart, before you can expect things to be right anywhere else. So really ponder over what we've talked about this month. I have grown so much by this month. I have learned so much about me by this month. My relationship is better with him because of what we've learned over this month, and learning to respect needs and wants and boundaries. We have both put boundaries up that we didn't know were possible before, and we now respect them. And it comes from learning your rights. And it comes from exercising your rights. And are you going to exercise them every single time? No, you're not. Are you going to allow them to exercise them every single time? No, you're not. But you need to have grace and accept forgiveness for not being perfect. It's been a hard thing. I think I need to walk around with a sign hung around my neck that says, I am not perfect.
I was just looking for that. I forgot you were wearing my hoodie.
I'm gonna go with you now, and we're done. We're not perfect, and we have to be able to accept the fact that we're not perfect. We have to be able to accept that fact, and that's a hard thing to say. It's a hard thing to stand in front of a mirror and say, I'm not perfect. I need to learn. I need to grow. Our relationship needs to evolve together. I tell him, he said hi, Roxy, because you know he's like Houdini, the little chicken that just wanders back and forth through the thing. Yeah, it's the things we don't want to hear that we need to hear the most. That's our problem. And it's hard to swallow. And that's this massive pill we take. So we're going to end this here today. Y'all have a blessed weekend. I'm really excited about the weekend. I'm going to actually get something done. I don't get a lot done in the middle of the week. I'm going to get something done. I'm going to go spend some time with my veteran for a few minutes. In just a minute, we're going to ride down the road. Thank you for everybody who joined us last night. We had such a good time. We have some new people that we've welcomed into this group. It has been an amazing journey. And just like I said, I'm not sure how many people know, but the numbers came out yesterday. We're reaching 5,000 people, and we're being seen in 10 countries around the world. Makes me excited. Mandy joined us from New Zealand last night, which was really Friday. So if you want to know what your Saturday is going to be like, you need to message Mandy, and she can tell you what your Saturday is going to be like because she's a day ahead of us. So now we kind of have a little insight into the future. Just text Mandy. She's got all that going on for us. I'm Stacy. This has been Walking in My Shoes, and we are loving my veteran. Y'all have a blessed day.